Hi, I'm Chris Peterson, and I'm a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. It is time for ResultsLeader.fm. Welcome back to another edition. And today, things are going to get really weird because my guest says that results don't matter. What? You'd think I wouldn't allow that on the show, but you got to hear his logic. Not only that, but I love how he shares his morning routine that he would not trade for $1 billion. Today, Mr. Chris Peterson is rocking the mic with me. Let's jump in. Chris, my man, welcome to the show. Glad to be speaking with you. How are you?
I'm great, Jonathan. How you doing, bud?
Awesome, man. I know that we have a tight deadline, so why don't we jump into the first question? What book or books have you given most as a gift?
Given most as a gift. There's a book that was written by some guys here in Orlando, but it's called The Power of Full Engagement. And it was written about 20 years ago. And the reason it's a good book, but it's one of those books, if you ask me to name the top 10 books that I've read that have made an impact on me, that may or may not be on the list, but it's a great gift book because usually I'll give a gift to somebody who actually reads and is interested in self-improvement. And this book is fantastic as far as talking about managing your energy and taking action on things rather than managing your time. And it's, Schwartz and Lohr, Loer, I think is the names of the two authors. They're out of Lake Nona.
Talking about locals. It's so rare. So how'd you hear about this book?
It's funny. I remember this because I've read it in 2003. It was a while ago, but there was an article in USA Today about it. And there's a phrase that they use that I fell in love with. And the phrase is that life is not a marathon. Life is a series of sprints. And I love that because the way the body is wired is you've got to push forward really hard with your energy, and then you've got to recuperate. Right. And in order to really maximize what you're doing in life. And so I picked it up, and there's another reason I give it away. I give it away because a lot of people haven't heard of it. So sometimes if you give away Good to Great by Jim Collins, odds are they have it already.
Yeah, man. So I am definitely picking up a copy of that. Why don't you tell me a story of how an apparent failure set you up for later success?
I can tell several stories there. I'll hit on a few if you don't mind. I won't go into too much detail. So when I was a senior in high school, I was projected to be a very successful baseball season. I was a baseball player. I played football and baseball in high school, but my baseball was my game. I didn't have a strong season. I had a very good sophomore season, very good junior year season, and the prospects of me doing well my senior year were very high. And I got caught up in all that and put too much stress on myself and didn't perform well. And what I learned from that was the whole power of your emotions over your performance, and understanding that I just got too hard on myself and didn't take things one day at a time, didn't realize that the season was 30 games long. And every single minute of every game, I was judging myself and putting too much pressure on myself. And that's what I learned from that experience. Just getting into sales, just the idea of doing 25 cold calls a day and getting escorted out of buildings, and for 3 months having absolutely zero success. Here I graduated University of Florida with a mechanical engineering degree, and I decided I was going to sell copiers to learn how to sell. And so I'm running around beating the streets. I lived in Tampa at the time, beating the streets and just getting completely rejected. Where the friends that I went to school with, they had jobs, they took engineering jobs, and they were living the life. And here I was making a third of the money and just being treated like second-class citizen every single day. But I wanted a career in technical sales, and this was the best path to it. So what I learned from that was, quite candidly, that there were no seasons in life. When you were in high school, when you were in college, the longest term of anything was a semester, right? And nothing happens in a semester's time in life. So what I learned is you've got to keep every day just pushing forward. And if you're doing the right things, it's, success is going to come your way. So I oftentimes go back to those two periods of my life and remember the failures and remember, okay, take a check of yourself. So those two really helped me out quite a bit. Actually, starting my business, I got fired and I started my business. So that helped. I was executive vice president of a technology business, and my boss was 2010. Everyone was hard up for money, and we were a technology business. And my boss sat down with me and said, "Hey, man, I've got a problem. I've got to let you go." And I remember telling him, "Looks, sounds like I've got a problem." And we both laughed. And he said, "No, my problem is I can't make that decision because our board really likes you. And so I've got to figure out what to do. What if I gave you 6 months until the end of the year?" It wasn't quite 6 months, but it was close enough. Till the end of the year to find a new job, and then it can be your decision. And I explained to him, I said, I don't really want to find a new job. I want to start this sales management consulting business for my next step in my career. And he looked at me and said, "That's what we're going to do. We're going to be your first client." And so I had a client on Tuesday. I was the executive vice president of technology business. On Wednesday, it wasn't called Vector Firm yet, but I was the owner of a consulting firm. And I had a client already that was paying me a monthly retainer. And my company would not have happened if it wasn't for that, because I didn't have, and I still don't probably, I don't know, but I didn't have the courage to go out on my own. I just didn't. I had an easy job, and well, not an easy job, but I had a high paying job. I could have gotten another job probably, but if I wasn't let go and if I didn't get that first client, I never would have made the jump.
Crazy how that works, man. So what would you say is the most worthwhile investment you've ever made?
Working out. And when I say working out, I don't mean that like just going to the gym, although I do go to the gym. I mean just the investment that I've made in my physical health. I'm going to turn 52 real soon, and I've got the same energy I had 30 years ago. Great, everything, you check it off, whatever, blood pressure, heart rate, cholesterol. I work out 5 days a week. I run twice a week. I mean, in my opinion, that's the investment. And it's not just working out; it's the nutrition. I invest in a physician that's 24/7, and I probably can't afford that investment, but I still do it because every year we have a very, very, very deep 2-day physical, and it's huge to me, and it's paying off. Like I said, I'm going to turn 52, and I look at my friends who are my age, and I've got a much higher energy level, and all the metrics are there. So hopefully, I'll be able to see great grandkids and ski with them. That would be fun.
Yeah, man. So in the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
In the last 5 years, I think taking my meditation practice to the next level. So I started meditating in 1995 when I was getting beat up in sales. That was my second year in sales. So I started meditating to calm myself down. It was a couple times a week kind of thing, maybe 4 times a week on good weeks and 1 or 2 times a week. And then sometimes I'd skip a week, right? I don't miss days. In the last 5 years, about 3.5, 4 years ago, it wasn't like I made a vow to do it. It just happened. I just started every single day. And I went from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. So every single day I meditate for 20 minutes now. And I've taken it to a much deeper feeling level, not a thinking level. Meditating is not a thinking level, but that's where I was. I was at the thinking level, and I've really sunk into where I want to be. So that's not really a habit I picked up. It's just a habit I kind of embraced a little bit more.
What would you say are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
A whole lot. So my area of expertise is sales management consulting and sales consulting. So we help small businesses. We help their sales teams learn how to sell and market. We also have a department that does digital and content marketing. But I would say that the advice is mostly around traditional methods of selling and things like throw as much mud against the wall as you can and it's going to stick. Things like it's all about relationships. By the way, relationships are extremely important, but it's no longer all about them because of this wonderful phone that we all have. We have access to information immediately. So because of that, salespeople are no longer the source of information. So a relationship alone cannot create customer loyalty. So throwing as much mud against the wall as possible is. You can make 1,000 cold calls today and get 0 appointments because no one needs you anymore. So that's so you've got to make your cold calls differently. And so that's the type of advice that I hear all the time. And it doesn't work. And I'm fine with it because it helps my company grow. It helps us become more necessary.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a public service announcement. We're going to get right back into this show, but I wanted to ask you a question. If you have been listening to the show for any amount of time and you've picked up even one single tip, then I need your help. Get the word out. Tell people about resultsleader.fm. Share it on social media, share it on your email, share it anywhere. #ResultsLeaderFM. Now let's jump back into the interview. Let's talk about results, man. Why do results matter?
Why do results matter? It's funny you ask that, because what I try to do and what I encourage my clients to do is not focus on the results, focus on the process. A lot of results, good or bad, have to do with luck. Over a course of time, the greater amount of time, the less amount of luck. They're indirectly related. And so if you focus only on the results or mostly on the results, you're going to end up wondering constantly, why was I so good in April and I'm not very good now in May? And you're going to tie your results back to whatever you did in May, let's say, or back to whatever you did in April. And the fact is that those results probably have nothing to do. I tell people this all the time. If you measure your new salespeople simply on their results, you're measuring them on the type of luck that they have. Now, after 12 months, yeah, you better measure them on their results. But in those first 12 months, the guys that are knocking out of the park that you just promoted, maybe, he may be a lot luckier than the lady that you just fired. So what you've got to do is you've got to look at how well they're performing in their process. So that's why I believe that as long as you focus on that, and when I say process, I don't mean like a 4-month process. I mean, what do you do on Tuesday mornings from 7 to 7:45? What is your process? What is your routine? And then how in detail do you get it? Do you just do it, or do you actually absorb yourself in it and perform? But without results, let's face it, we've got a finite time here on the planet, and our brain is wired in a way for survival. And one of the ways that our brain feels better is by seeing that we're getting positive results. And it makes us feel better. It releases that dopamine. That's why our phone beeps all the time and the video games make great noises. And when you go to a parking garage and your credit card gets accepted, it goes boom, boom, and it releases this dopamine. It makes us feel better. So those positive results are necessary for survival because it tells us we're doing the right thing, right? So the results are necessary. They are helpful. And they're important because they help us understand in the long term, are we doing the right thing or not? And it also makes us feel better. It makes us feel safer because, our mammal brain is getting these signals that, hey, you know what? You're going to survive. You're going to be okay. And then we're happier,
Oh, I like it, man. So in the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
Understanding this, and sharing this message with my clients. Understanding that my clients and their salespeople will listen to me and they will listen to my team about ideas more than they will listen to their boss. So their boss may tell them the same thing over and over and over again. Then they bring in a guy like me and I visit them in Des Moines or Los Angeles or wherever the heck they are. And I tell them the same idea. And they're like, oh, that's brilliant. And their boss is over there saying, what's going on, right? So they'll listen to me. However, they will not do it for me. The boss has to hold them accountable to doing it. And as I've learned this and as I've observed this in the last 5 years, I observed it in the first 5 years of my business. And in the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, I've been teaching my clients this and working with them, not just on here are ideas, but here's what you have to do to implement. I just got the phone Wednesday with a potential client out in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we're going to have another call on the 22nd. And the thing I said, listen, between now and our next call, I want you to think about something because you're a small shop. You're very busy as the owner and the president. If you don't have time to coach your team, if you don't have time to hold them accountable to the things I teach them, then let's not do this. Okay. I'll be prepared to share pricing with you and all that stuff, but I want you to think about that between now and then. And if you want to cancel the call, you cancel the call. And I have that conversation all the time because that's the fact. If they're not going to hold their sales team accountable, their sales team will just do what they've always done, period, because they're in a comfort zone and that's what they do. But that's worked because now you got the sales manager or the owner or the general manager, whoever, they're not teaching what I taught, but they're taking the knowledge that I've given their sales team and they're making sure that they're putting it in action.
What area of your business would you like better results?
So from my business being selfish, I would like for, and I'm going to answer 2 answers here. One for my business. I would like for our Vector Farm Sales Academy to grow more. And the reason is because it's a fantastic arena to gather more people. It's an online sales training platform, and we have built it like a gym. You pay less than $50 a month per person, and you join, and you give us 90 minutes a month. That's it. Not even a half hour a week. And you can do those 90 minutes whenever you want, and you're going to be ahead of everybody else in your sales game, period. So I want that to grow because it's such a cool model. It's different, and it's also scalable for us. Whether we have one member or 10,000 members, we're in good shape. From the results that our clients get from our work, I want them to do it. It dovetails on my last answer. You don't know how many times, like, I'll leave speaking at an event, or I'm just having a coaching call on a Tuesday from 11 to 11:30. And they're like, oh man, I didn't think that's a great idea. And they're writing it down, and then, I'll be at a dinner after speaking at an event. People will come up and say, God, I never heard of that. Those are great ideas. And then I see them later. It's like, didn't do it. Oh, I just slammed. Man, those ideas are awesome, but I just got slammed. And that's why I'm so emphatic right now on trying to figure out the best way to turn the ideas that we give about modern selling, to turn those ideas into routines and habits. We're getting a lot better at it, a whole lot better than we were before. But, we can't be there. We're trainers and consultants. So working with the leaders is probably the best way, but still.
What results are you most proud of, Chris?
My daughter's 8 years old and she's happy as can be, and she's doing well in school. First thing popped in my mind. That's the biggest thing in my life, is to be the very best husband and father I can possibly be. And I hate to sound so, you rehearsed for this podcast, guy, but I mean, if you asked me that and you just bumped into me in Starbucks, that's my answer. That's definitely what I'm proudest of. But I'm very proud that I started this company, because I had the idea for years and I just never had the guts to do it. And I finally had the opportunity. And I joked a little bit earlier saying I didn't have the guts to do it, but I did it. And sometimes I don't give myself enough credit. After news went out that I was consulting, I received several opportunities to come be an executive vice president of sales, vice president of sales and marketing, whatever, in my industry. And I turned all those down to continue the path of building this. And it took a heck of an income. It's pretty cool. It's really neat when I think about it.
Any parting thoughts you'd like to share with the results leaders out there?
I'm guessing people that listen to this podcast are very obviously results oriented and driven as can be. This is what I share with everybody that I talk to, is that if you gave me $10 billion, I would not give up my morning routine. And it doesn't have to be the morning, but there are things that I do in my life every single day, well, virtually every day, that help keep me emotionally and mentally and physically happy. It keeps me balanced. Those things for me are exercising and meditating, journaling. I like to express my thoughts through writing. And they're different for other people. For other people, maybe they play the piano, maybe whatever it is that you do that keeps you balanced and that keeps you happy. Create a process and create a routine where nothing gets in the way. This morning, I had a haircut at 7 a.m. this morning, okay? And I didn't realize that I scheduled a haircut at 7. And I usually do that, but I do it because I dropped my daughter off school, blah, blah, blah. But I did this for 7 a.m. And I had to go for a run this morning. It was part of my process. Today was my run day. Anyway, I had to get up at 4:20 this morning in order to be able to get to my haircut. But I did whatever was necessary, not because I'm this guy that just is so disciplined. I did it because it's that important to me. I know that I have to do this run. I know that I have to do the 20 minutes of meditating. I know it. So I got up at 4:20 this morning. That's my parting thought, is find out what that process is, what that routine is, that if somebody offered you $10 billion, you would say, nope. Someone said $10 billion, but you can't ever work out again. And you're like, you can't exercise at all. I said, all right, keep your money. Same with meditating. Well, meditating maybe 10 billion, but if you gave me $1 million, I'd say no.
Oh, man, I dig it, man. And thanks for sharing your morning routine. We were talking here with Mr. Chris Peterson. Thank you for your time. Thank you, results leaders, for tuning in. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I got so into your morning routine. Where can people find out more about you?
Vectorfirm.com, VECTORFIRM, Vector and firm, like a law firm, although we're not a law firm, .com. And then our sales academy is at vectorfirmacademy.com.
There you go. And we will have links in the show notes. I was so into the story, I got lost. Thank you for that.
You got it.
That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.